Rice versus worms. I tested the viral trick, and the results were crazy. If you've spent any time scrolling gardening videos lately, you've definitely seen the viral rice trick for worms. People are sprinkling uncooked rice in the garden and claiming it kills soil worms, attracts beneficial microbes, and transforms poor soil in days. At first I thought it sounded like one of those garden fads that explodes online every couple of months and disappears just as fast. This is my personal experiment, what worked, what didn't, and how you can safely and effectively use rice in your garden, because yes, there is a right way and a wrong way to do it. Grab a cup of tea, fellow gardeners, this one gets interesting. Let's start with the basic claim behind the viral trend. Gardeners sprinkle rice on soil to kill worms. That's what caught my attention initially, but it turns out the story is more complicated. So, I decided to test 3 different scenarios. First, rice sprinkled dry on top of soil. Second, rice buried under about 2 inches of soil. And third, rice soaked in water and fermented for 48 hours, then poured around the base of plants. What happened next, honestly, changed how I look at soil amendments forever. I chose one bed that had plenty of earthworms. I checked before starting, just to be sure. On a sunny morning I sprinkled about 1 cup of uncooked rice over a roughly 2 by 3 foot patch. At first, nothing. No movement, no smell, no sudden worm explosion. But, after 3 days, something started happening. The rice slowly began to swell from dew and moisture. Ants discovered it first. Then I noticed fungus threads forming, white, fuzzy mycelium stretching between grains. If you're a soil geek, you know that's actually great news. After a week, when I dug my hand into the bed, I did not find dead worms. In fact, I found more worms gathered in clusters under the decomposing rice. They weren't fleeing, they were feeding. Worms love breaking down soft organic matter, especially when microbes start colonizing it. So, what I learned, dry rice doesn't kill worms. It becomes a food source, but it takes time. It's really similar to burying kitchen scraps. Gradual improvement, not overnight magic. For the second test, I took another cup of rice and buried it about 2 inches deep. This sped things up dramatically. 4 days later, when I dug a small trench in the test area, I found a warm spot in the soil. This is where those viral videos get their worms burning claim. It wasn't actual fire or danger, it was simply microbial heat. When microbes feast on carbohydrates, they produce heat. Think compost pile. Was it enough to kill worms? In my case, no. But it absolutely created a hotspot that worms seem to avoid temporarily. Worms don't like high temperatures. They move away, then come back when conditions normalize. It's like when you flip a compost pile. Worms scatter for a while, then return later when things cool down and break down further. What I learned, if you bury too much rice at once, it can temporarily alter soil temperature. That doesn't make it dangerous, but it does mean moderation matters. This, my friends, was the wild part. I soaked rice in a jar of water, covered it, and let it sit for 48 hours. When I opened the jar, it smelled like sour yeast and compost tea, strong, but not rotten. I strained the rice out and poured the fermenting rice water around tomatoes, kale, and peppers. 2 days later, I noticed faster plant perk-up, darker soil coloration, surge in soil fungi, worm castings appearing on top of the soil. What was happening? The fermented liquid basically acts as a microbe booster, similar to homemade EM, or effective microorganisms, or Korean natural farming inputs. It feeds bacteria and fungi that break down organic matter quickly. This is where the crazy results claim is actually true, but not because it kills worms, because it feeds the soil ecosystem. Worms love microbe-rich environments. They returned in huge numbers. It was like watching a soil party. Here's the straight, honest truth from testing this over several weeks. Rice does attract microbes, feed fungi, increase worm activity over time, improve soil structure, help organic matter break down faster, and work as a slow-release carbon source. Rice does not kill worms, make worms explode, or instantly transform soil overnight. The worm-killing claim comes from heat spots during decomposition, not poison or harm. Worms simply move away from heat, then return once the area cools down. If you're going to try this viral trick, do it wisely. Use rice as a soil amendment, not a pesticide. Best methods from my experiment. First, fermented rice water gives the best and fastest results. Soak 1 cup of rice in 2 cups of water for about 24 to 48 hours, then strain it out. Dilute that 1 part rice water to 5 parts clean water and pour it around the bases of your plants. Second, you can bury small amounts. It's slow but effective. Just bury no more than half a cup per square foot and mix it with compost. Third, add rice to your compost instead of directly to raw soil. Rice acts like a brown carbon source and really speeds up microbial activity. But, avoid leaving large piles of dry rice exposed on the soil. It attracts pests like rats and ants. This works especially well for heavy clay soils, dead, compact, lifeless beds that need more microbial diversity, new gardens that are still building up organic matter, raised beds that are missing those important fungal networks. And honestly, if your soil is already rich, dark, and filled with worms, rice won't magically multiply worms, it just keeps feeding the ecosystem. Final verdict: viral trick tested. Was it crazy? Yes, but not for the reasons the internet claims. Rice isn't a worm killer. It's actually a microbial fuel source. When used properly, it can boost soil life, improve structure, increase worm activity, and speed up decomposition. Just remember, gardening isn't about quick destruction. It's about long-term soil building. Rice is just another tool in your organic gardening toolbox. Before you go, let's grow soil stories together. If you enjoyed this real hands-on test and learned something new, don't keep it to yourself. Share this with another gardener who loves trying new tricks and experiments. And if you want more soil hacks, garden experiments, and natural growing methods, make sure you subscribe to Soil Stories and turn on notifications so you never miss our next test. Every garden tells a story. Let's write yours with living soil.